Well, welcome, folks. We got all that, plus the shocking revelation that ISIS has used mustard gas against some of the Kurdish forces facing them in Iraq. Mustard gas has been outlawed by Geneva Convention, but they're using it. And one more horror story of those terrible people. Well, there's something building out in the Pacific. It's called El Nino. And that means the little sun, and the forecasts are calling it the huge weather system. It could spell relief from California's terrible drought, but it also could bring devastating drought and floods to other parts of the world.
That's right. The monster storm could be one of the most powerful weather changers of the past 65 years, bringing too much rain too fast. Charlene Aaron has more.
The waters of the eastern Pacific are heating up a lot, and the steady buildup signals a strong El Nino event this fall, with some calling it a super El Nino. NASA climatologist Bill Patzert even says this definitely has the potential of being the Godzilla of El Nino.
El Nino is a weather pattern that can have an impact around the world. Here in the U.S., it usually means heavier than normal winter rain in California and much of the South and East.
That classic pattern of El Nino, where warm water pools off the west coast of South America, will shift the jet streams that bring storm tracks in the wintertime to Southern California and the desert Southwest a little further north, bringing some much needed rain and snowpack for that region.
That could mean good news and bad news for drought-stricken California. It's so dry in the state that they have placed 96 million plastic balls in the state's reservoirs to block the sun, hoping to save 300 million gallons from evaporation. The drought is also fueling lots of wildfires.
California, and Northern California in particular, is seeing a particularly bad fire season this year based on the drought conditions.
With the fires burning up California's vegetation, NASA says if this El Nino lives up to its potential, it could bring a lot of floods, mudslides, and mayhem. And some say even if El Nino happens, it doesn't guarantee the rain and snow needed to ease the current drought problems. The state would need 1.5 times its normal rainfall to end the dry season.
El Nino only increases the probabilities of seeing at or slightly above precipitation. It doesn't mean it's going to be a statewide 2-year deficit-breaking rainfall.
Meantime, after 4 years of dry weather, Southern Californians are keeping their fingers crossed that El Nino saves the day.
I'll probably believe it once I see it. It's been pretty dry.
Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Monster, the Pacific Ocean. It's not human global warming that causes this thing. This is the Pacific. And the El Nino, I believe, isn't that it's the Christ child, the baby, El Nino, and yeah. That's what it's named after.
The thing is that to solve the drought problem, they really need more gradual rain to come.
They need
a
the
blast
snowpack
like
to be heavy up in the Sierras. When it melts, it comes down and, floods. So this thing will hit in a hurry. But Southern California will get a lot of water, and it'll fill up the reservoirs. It'll be good news for them. But people in Africa and India and places like that will see crushing drought and blighted crops. I mean, this thing is a monster, and we just don't know. We don't yet know what it's going to be. I haven't got my copy of the Farmer's Almanac. They always know what's going to happen.
Hey, they were right this summer.
They were right this time, and hopefully they're right again. Well, folks, we already know that ISIS is evil. But now there are reports that they may have taken their savagery to a whole new level. Ephraim Graham has more on that story from the CBN Newsroom. Here's Ephraim.
Pat, U.S. officials believe Islamic State militants are now using chemical weapons. They said ISIS likely used mustard gas in a recent attack against Kurdish forces in northern Iraq. About 60 Kurdish fighters suffered breathing difficulties after the attack, a telltale sign of chemical weapons use. The jihadist fighters are believed to have used chemical weapons last month as well. Confirmation of weapons of mass destruction would mark a dramatic turn in the threat from ISIS. Pat?
You know, there was an interview with General Odierno, who is retiring as Army Chief of Staff. He's a terrific soldier. And he basically said, we have the power, the military of the United States could wipe ISIS out in a matter of a few days or weeks. But the question is, we're not using it. We don't want to do that. Well, I somehow think that maybe we should. We can't allow these people to do what they're doing, and it gets worse and worse and worse. And I was also reading how they're taking those Yazidi women and classifying them and selling them as sex slaves and the stuff they're doing. And one poor little girl was raped, and this guy prayed to Allah before he raped her, and she was in agony because she was just a little girl. And he said, well, I've got to rape you because it's part of my religion. And you think, what kind of crazy people are these? And now they're using mustard gas. This is awful. We can't allow that to happen. But we have no will in Washington to do what's needed. And we're talking about degrade and ultimately destroy. We're not degrading anything. Ephraim?
Pat, the toxic accident caused by the EPA has washed all the way from Colorado to Utah. And while the bright mustard color is mostly gone, the poisonous damage remains. Some of the dangerous arsenic and lead has merely settled to the riverbed and can be kicked up at any moment. Efforts to clean out irrigation ditches in Colorado along the Animas River Thursday accidentally released a plume of the yellow muck. And experts say the abandoned gold mine the EPA breached will take many years and millions of dollars to manage. They think the safest solution would be to install a treatment plant to indefinitely clean water coming from that mine. Hillary Clinton's email scandal is sending her supporters into panic mode. TheHill.com reports a Democrat strategist calling the appearance of a cover-up a political cancer for her. This week, Clinton agreed to turn over her server to the FBI after months of criticism. But an attorney for the IT company that oversees Clinton's computer system says the drive was wiped clean, completely erased. Meanwhile, McClatchy News reports the State Department even sent a safe to Clinton's attorney in July to help protect any classified material.
The fact that Hillary Clinton turned it over says to me that it's been carefully examined in various ways by not only her lawyer, but also by the campaign. And if they really thought that there would be something very, very damaging in doing so, they might have fought it further. That's typically what the Clintons do. They only release what they have to release. They take a long time to do it, and they elongate scandals as a result.
And Pat, no surprise, these revelations could have a negative impact on Clinton's run for president.
Well, that, my friend, is a terrific understatement. New Hampshire, sort of a bellwether state, there's a socialist. The man is a socialist. He wants to have top income tax of 90%. He's looking at policies that will absolutely cripple the American industrial base, and I'm sure socialists want to take over the means of production. That's what socialism is. They're going to run it all. The fact that he is now a number of points ahead of Clinton in the state of New Hampshire is just appalling. You say there's something strange going on. And I tell you, the Democrats must be wringing their hands. What are they going to do? But there's no bench. They don't have a bench strength. And who are they going to put into the gap? They're trying to talk Joe Biden to run. Well, Joe Biden has got his problems along the way, including plagiarism some years ago. But he's very popular and a real nice guy. We'll see what happens. Ephraim?
Pat, Senator Marco Rubio is blasting President Obama today for his handling of Cuba, saying he has made no efforts to stand on the side of freedom. The criticism comes as the U.S. Embassy opens in Havana for the first time in 5 decades. Meanwhile, a change in Cuban government rules has allowed a small number of residents to become private business owners. A few Cubans, like photographer Eduardo Perez, have done quite well. But as Gary Lane reports, Perez is not as concerned about making a profit as he is about blessing the church.
Eduardo Perez stepped into the unknown 5 years ago when he got permission to start his own business in Havana. His talent for photography quickly led to professional success. Today, Eido's studio is not only turning a profit, but it is also giving a platform to Perez for supporting a cause that is close to his heart.
This business has always been a tool God gave us to talk about Him. Whether it's photos for clients or our personal work, we always want to highlight the beauty of God through photography. That's what we're called to do. From the beginning, we were very clear that this should be a business that serves others, not just a means for financial gain. As we've gotten better, we have done well financially. That has helped to support other ministries.
We began with nothing, then we expanded our photography to other goals, like social work that we've done in communities, in schools.
Ato's studio became known for unique crowd photos of the Christian community, one of the fastest growing groups in Cuba, yet virtually ignored by Cuban media. The Patas have documented public activities of the church and even managed to display those pictures in secular exhibitions, a major accomplishment in Cuba.
We are trying to capture highly attended church activities on a national level and create a photo report so that it's documented. We want the people in the eastern and central parts of the country to know what's being done in Havana and vice versa. Every chance I get, I show other believers that we're more than they think, that more things are being done than we think, that God is opening more doors than any of us realize.
Ato's Studios, a Christian business making a difference in Cuba. Gary Lane, CBN News.
Some good news surfaces after the devastating explosions in China. A firefighter trapped in the rubble from the blast is alive. Rescuers found him 32 hours after the two explosions in the port city of Tianjin. At least 50 people were killed in Wednesday's blasts. Officials say the explosion began in shipping containers owned by a company that handles hazardous material. More than 100 people have been killed by massive flooding in Myanmar, and more than 300,000 people have been displaced. CBN humanitarian and disaster relief teams continue to bring relief to the flood victims stranded in isolated areas, helping them to recover from the calamity. Lucille Talusan reports now from Myanmar.
In the wake of the severe flooding in Myanmar, people still suffer from food shortages, especially in hard-to-reach villages. A.A. Aung and her children were stranded for 2 weeks because of the flood waters.
I was very scared. The water was rising so fast. My children were crying. We sat on the bed waiting for people to come and give us food.
A.A. Aung and her family are among the more than 300,000 people affected by floods caused by heavy monsoon rains. Most of them have not been getting enough help because their villages have been isolated. Despite the difficulties, CBN humanitarian and disaster relief teams are responding to the needs of the victims, giving them food and blankets, and finding more ways to help them recover.
We're using these cow carts and bringing these relief goods to some 300 families inside this village. It's because it's taking 1.5 hours for people to walk through mud and flood waters to go to the highway, and so they don't have access for food.
A.A. Aung was very happy to get her share of food supplies and a blanket.
Thank you for the food. This is a big help to us. My daughter is very happy with her new blanket.
Village humanitarian head Uchi Thin was delighted that CBN came to help their community.
Thank you, CBN. We appreciate your help and your words of encouragement.
As the relief efforts continue, CBN Myanmar country manager Sandy Baratha looks for ways to minimize future flood damage.
The flood will happen again and again. So in my point of view, we need to do rehabilitation project in some area so they will really relieve from the flood in the future.
And it's more than just meeting physical needs. CBN is also helping local churches bring spiritual relief and comfort.
We want to serve and equip the body of Christ, so the body of Christ, which is church here, local church, can reach and share the love of God to the community.
This latest crisis to hit Myanmar has provided Christians with an unprecedented opportunity to share their faith with the people. Lucille Talusan, CBN News, Mandalay, Myanmar.
And I witnessed it firsthand. CBN disaster teams go where no one else goes. Pat?
Well, you can imagine with ox carts to deliver needed supplies to Mandalay. You remember that song, On the Road to Mandalay, where the flying fishes play? That country used to be known as Burma, and it was, well, it was a very interesting country, but then it was closed down with a dictatorship for so many years, and now it's open, and our teams from the Philippines are going in there And you can help, but not only the disaster relief, they're bringing spiritual relief to the people, and they're welcomed by the people of Myanmar. Our address is CBN Disaster Relief Fund, CBN Center, Virginia Beach, Virginia. And if you want to do something to make a serious difference in the lives of people, that's some place to do it. Terry?
It's wonderful to see the church thriving
It
here,
is.
too, isn't
Oh,
it?
yeah, it's wonderful.
wonderful.
Yeah.